Welcome to another broadcast of Habits and Money.
Elevate your business with 10X Branding and Marketing LLC. Our expert team specializes in enhancing your brand's visibility and connecting you with your ideal clients. We employ strategies that increase reach, leaving a lasting impact and driving client conversion. Trust and credibility are vital in businesses and excel in building them even with a limited budget. Our cost-effective approaches ensure you get the best results without overspending. Ready to boost your business cash flow? Contact us at 332-235-T99 and let 10X Branding and Marketing LLC guide you to success. Our focus is on elevating your visibility, which directly translates to growth. Experience the power of effective branding and marketing with us and witness your business thrive.
Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into everything money. Why? Because if you're a rising star in business or you want to grow and expand your business, access to capital is vital. But what we are seeing is that many rising stars in business, they struggle to raise the much needed capital to grow and scale their business. And in most cases, you struggle because you don't have the information. Well, from today, based on the information that we're going to provide to you, there should be no reason why you should be struggling to access capital, because I have a subject matter expert in studio, and his name is Nick DiFederico, and he has a wealth of knowledge in the financial industry. But let me talk a little bit about Nick. Nick has quite a number of years in the private sector. In 2024, he set up his independent mortgage brokerage. 2007, he also went into gold and the precious metal industry. And in 2010, he joined MB Capital, which we will spend much time talking about today. And today he is one of the lead funding strategists at MB Capital. But Nick has much more than just this. Nick has an associate degree in entrepreneurship. Nick has also, there's so much more to Nick, but I don't want to keep you waiting too long. I want to just invite Nick now, and then we're going to do a deep dive into the rich business history that Nick has. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I appreciate it. What an intro. That was awesome. I appreciate the kind words and pumping me up here a little bit.
You're most welcome, my friend. Now, let us talk about your experience getting into entrepreneurship. In 2004, you started a mortgage broker. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that experience was like for you?
It was interesting, to say the least, right? 2004, I just graduated high school. I'm going into college. I'm starting at community college. I'm working part-time. I'm working for a couple guys in the mortgage industry that they were not the brightest people, and they were killing it in business. So at that point, I was like, all right, I think I can do this, right? Like, I know I can. So back then, and much different landscape, obviously, leading up to the 2008, 2009 kind of housing crash. But back then, essentially, all you had to be was 18 years old, take a fingerprint, you could get a mortgage license. I got a mortgage license and very quickly realized that I don't necessarily need to be part of somebody else's brokerage. I know exactly what I'm doing. I could go farm out these loans to, other companies and kind of hold it in-house. And that's exactly what I did. So opened up my mortgage company right after, graduating high school, not far after it. And the rest was kind of history, and started to build that business up while also working part-time and kind of, figuring out life as an 18, 19, 20-year-old. So yeah, it was quite the experience. It was a great little run there until the mortgage collapse happened. But, I learned a lot that I now kind of use in everything else that I've done since.
I must say that, I really love what you just said. You were younger than you are now, but you were courageous. All right.
Way younger.
But you were very courageous, to take that big leap into business. But you didn't do it one time. In 2007, you also went into the gold and precious metal industry, and you make a big, hit for yourself. And talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, as part of opening up the mortgage company was obviously I needed an office. So I went to my stepfather at the time, who had, empty office space on the second floor of his building. And I said, hey, let me rent it. And he said, okay, I'll give you a reduced rent, but actually I need some help too. He had a pawn shop on the first level. So he said, if you help me a little bit managing the pawn shop, I'll give you a reduced rent for upstairs. Okay. You don't got to give me a deal. deal. I'll take it. While I was building the mortgage business and doing loans, I was also half-handedly running the pawn shop on the first floor. Fast forward 2007, 2008, as the mortgage kind of collapse started to come to fruition and you started to see things happening, I kind of just fell into the next thing because at that time, as the economy started to dip a little bit, commodities took off. So gold, silver, diamonds, coins, the writing kind of was on the wall at that point. I kind of saw what was coming and I got into the gold business, right? So started buying gold, silver over the counter. So it was actually perfect timing because as the mortgage business kind of went into the toilet, that was taking off. So it was an easy jump for me, right? It was like, all right, I see where the money's coming now. I see where it's going. So let's go full focus into this one. Best decision I made, right? Because from 2007 all the way up until 2015, mortgages, like we said, kind of tanked and it was hard to get people approved, but the gold took off. I actually opened up cash for gold stores. So if you were in the Philadelphia, South Jersey market from 2008 to 2015 and sold a piece of gold, at some point I probably touched it. I had 13 stores from Philly all the way down to Cape May. I just bought a ton of gold, silver, diamonds. So it was a nice, good run. You learned a lot about the economy and precious metals and other ways to make money other than just going to work. But more importantly, you meet a lot of people, a lot of interesting stories. And that was like the next thing that kind of led me into MB Capital. So funny enough, everything kind of falls into the next thing because while I was in the jewelry business and I was buying gold, like I was running through money every other day, it felt like. So I was actually introduced to my now partner, Eric Moss from MB Capital, where he actually implemented, lines of credit and got me working capital in that business. So fast forward a little bit, that connection also plays a nice role as well.
Yeah, you joined MB Capital in 2010, and today you are one of the lead funding strategists behind MB Capital. The founder of MB Capital is Eric, one of the great minds behind MB Capital. The founder of MB Capital is Eric.
Yep.
But I know you're definitely held in a high esteem. Talk to us a little bit about MB Capital. Talk to us a little bit about your position as a lead funding strategist. Help us to understand your role in this regard.
Yeah. So MB Capital Solutions, what we specialize in are unsecured business lines of credit. So essentially we help small business owners, and a lot of our clients are real estate investors all across the country, get access to funds to, start, grow, and scale their business. Whether you're a brand new entrepreneur and you're like, kind of like what you mentioned at the beginning, hey, I have this idea, I have this business, I just don't have money. That's really where we come into play. We can help you start to build up capital in your business name so that you can go out there and take advantage of opportunities, right? Business owners, entrepreneurs, really at heart, they're opportunists. So I always, kind of make the joke, an opportunist without any money or any assets to be able to take advantage of opportunities typically are screwed, right? So we need something. We need tools to be able to go out there and start to take advantage of opportunities. That's really where MB Capital comes into play. We're gonna, kind of look and have a conversation with you, kind of learn a little bit more about you a little bit in depth. What are some of the goals here? Not just, now and what's going on now, but where are we trying to get the business to? Because as strategists, that's our goal, right? Like that's what we need to know. How can we help you right now? But more importantly, what are the things in 6, 9, 12 months that we know may pop up that we should be planning for you as well? Because, hey, if we can get you 50, 100 grand, great. If things go right, we'll probably need more money. So how do we strategize around that now so that when you get to that point, you're not kind of chasing or behind the 8 ball? And then my role as a strategist is, kind of that, I kind of help our team not only, bring clients in and welcome them in, but then also kind of look and see how they're positioned credit-wise, business-wise, so that we can give them that exact blueprint to take them from wherever they're at currently to where they're trying to get to go.
Nick, I must say, I am so happy to be talking to you today. I am an advocate for MB Capital also, and very often when you say to a client that it is possible to access capital at 0% APR for 6 to 24 months, it is like impossible when they hear things like that,
Yep.
But here is where you have MB Capital and your team, you specialize in these type of capital. But talk to us a little bit now about the pre-qualification criteria to access capital. Can you walk us through what that actually looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that we implement is unsecured, right? So we're not collateralizing properties. We don't have to put liens on assets or anything like that. Essentially it comes down to personal credit, right? Like if we can get personal credit in the right position, we can leverage personal credit to go get funds in the business name, even with a brand new entity. So in terms of how we need credit to look, everybody always says to me, all right, what's that 3-digit score number, right? right? Like, give me the score. Typically, we want to see 680 to 700 in terms of a personal credit score. However, I care more about credit data than just that 3-digit score, because what I know as a strategist is I can manipulate that score to get it to wherever I want. But more importantly, what does the data tell us? And then more importantly, what does the data tell the lenders? So typically, I want to see somebody who has a couple years worth of credit, right? Like, we have a couple personal credit cards. We've had credit for 5-6 years. That's at least shown a good track record. Ideally, we don't want any of the bad stuff, right? So if we have charge-offs or collection accounts or a ton of late payments, doesn't mean that we can't help you or there are not going to be options, but ideally we're going to want to clean that stuff up. So if we haven't started working on credit repair, we can give you those resources because, listen, if you're meeting us now and credit's not in the right position, a year from now, you should be in a much different place because we're going to give you the game plan on, if there's things that we need to do, exactly how to do it, and more importantly, give you the resources to do it. So personal credit comes into a big play there, so 680 to 700 credit score, but then the data also matters in terms of utilization, how many personal credit cards, those types of things will kind of determine how much capital is available to you here in the marketplace.
Great. So we're talking here that you look at the FICO score, and the FICO score should be about 680. I'm just emphasizing what you would have said because, I really want the public to get this. I really want rising stars in business to know that you can access capital, 1 at 0% APR, 2, and that is non-collateral. You don't have to go, mortgage your home or, a piece of land, or you get uncle or auntie to put their asset up for you. With MB Capital, they are able to access capital simply based on having a healthy history when it comes to their FICO score. I love that.
The biggest benefit, really, even though we're looking at personal credit and lenders are looking at personal credit, it'll get issued under your business entity name. It'll be under the EIN number. So even though they're looking at personal credit, when it comes time to use it, it gives us permission to go out there and leverage it, maximize it to its full potential, because it won't report on our personal credit report, right? Like, we can go use $100,000 worth of business capital and not worry about the impact that it has on our personal credit. Because far too often I see business owners, entrepreneurs, they'll meet me not knowing that business capital really is a thing. And what they do is they max out personal credit, right? I had a client yesterday, he's fully maxed out. Whereas if we would have just gotten some of that capital in the business entity name, he could have done the same thing, but kept personal credit in a right position so that he can go do other things while he's in the middle of working on one of his deals.
I really love that you have said that, because what you're doing here at the beginning of setting up the business to access capital, you're leveraging your FICO as a PG, which we call the personal guarantee for the business. But tell me this, is there some point that the business in of itself with the EIN and with the Dun & Bradstreet and the PAYDEX score, is it able to source the capital, the force from using the FICO? It's not that the FICO is at risk at any time, but is it at any point that just leveraging the DNB and the PAYDEX score, the business could reach that point where it's able to access funding on its own?
Absolutely. The one thing I always say, though, is that it takes time, right? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And there's also some factors there, right? So it depends on the industry that you're in. Like, if we're a real estate investor, we may never get to a point where just the business on itself, is the guarantor for some of the lines of credit, just because we're looked at as a little bit riskier of a business. Now, a hair salon, right, where, I'm working with a salon owner right now who actually happens to invest in real estate as well. We're building her up with lines of credit in the salon business that she'll lend to the real estate business. Over the course of the next couple of years, as she builds up, financials, has revenue, has tax returns, she'll get to a point where we can go after some of those non-PG type lines of credit. It's just, there's a process there. So more than anything, yes, you can get to that point. Building up your DMB and having, good financials goes a long way. The industry does matter, but those options for clients are definitely out there. It all depends on how we're set up.
Okay. And again, I'm happy that we're talking about this because I see one of the biggest mistakes that many rising stars in business do. You leverage your FICO score to access capital using the FICO score, which means that if you have a late payment, if you have continuous late payment, if you have a derogatory, everything shows up on that FICO, which immediately affects the credit score. But with MB Capital, it is different. It is different from the perspective that it's only a PG and nothing that is done for the business will actually show up on the FICO to affect your FICO score. That is definitely good news to hear. The next thing I want to look at, Nick, is are these type of funding available to all types of businesses? I know you talk about salon, but let us suppose that I'm a real estate investor and I need some down payment. Can I come to MB Capital and say, hey, I have a good FICO, I have 750, but I need to have some down payment to start a real estate portfolio. Can MB Capital help with that?
100%. That is mostly our client, that real estate investor that's out there that wants to do either fix and flips or buy and holds. Maybe they have another business, like that salon owner is doing real estate. That's how she found us. So if you're a real estate investor and you're out there, you're starting to look for deals, you're like, hey, I want to do a fix and flip, or I want to start building passive income through rentals. I just don't have the funds to get into that first deal. That is the client that we help all day long, right? We're going to get you funds in a business entity name, even if it's a brand spanking new entity, that you can at least then have the down payment money to go do a deal, right? Maybe a hard money lender is going to give you 80% of the purchase and all the rehab money, but you still need that gap funding. You still need the closing cost money plus that down payment plus holding cost money. Let us get you some funds to get out there and essentially 100% fund the deal, right? Like if we have cash, great. I'm a big believer in building what I call the funding toolbox, right? So I think you should have access to lines of credit, cash, HELOCs, whatever we can kind of get our hands on, we should have access to it because as entrepreneurs, as real estate investors, that just allows us to go do more deals and find more opportunities.
Nick, can you also talk to us? Let us suppose also that we have a line of credit and you have 0% APR for 6 to 24 months. You want to enjoy the benefits of that 0% APR. Can we do a balance transfer to prolong the life cycle of that 0% APR? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So, and what Gary's talking about here is really a strategic 0% credit card plan where we can leverage 0% credit cards, turn them into cash, use it the same as say a line of credit or cash in the bank account, but carry that leverage. I'm not going to call it debt because we're putting it into a deal or business. That leverage is 0% interest. Yeah, so we'll have it for 6 to 18. There's some lenders right now going up to 21 months. The nice thing, however, is we'll strategize with you on how to be able to keep extending those 0% promotions, right? So I'm a big believer in having, an outlet to be able to maneuver, like you just said, maybe balance transfer from one card to another to extend the interest. But, for especially our real estate investors, the credit card model is awesome because, within 12 months, we should be out of that, right? We should either flip that property or refinance it and have cash coming back. So when we pay down the cards, if we're in that position to do that before we have to do a balance transfer, those lenders, and sometimes you may see it on your personal cards where you transfer one balance to another, and then that first lender gives you another 0% promotion. Same thing on the business side. When done right, these lenders are going to keep sending us 0% promotions again and again. And it's kind of a crazy thing. Me personally, over the last 10 years, I have credit cards I've never paid interest on because I've either paid it off, waited for a new promotion to come in, or I just shifted it to another card. So that's the nice thing. And I know you're probably sitting here watching this saying, all right, why did they do that? Right? Like, all right, they gave you 0%. Why are they going to give you another one? Well, there's two reasons really. The first reason, they're a credit card company, so they want to hold your debt. It looks good on their balance sheet. But the real reason is they know, statistically speaking, 90+% of the people that use 0% promotions typically can't and won't ever pay them off. They're transferring over bad debt, or they're using it for bad debt. They're going shopping with it. For us as entrepreneurs, we're putting it into, an opportunity that we should have an exit strategy on. So when Gary uses 50 grand as 0% interest and pays it off in time, they want to give Gary another 0% promotion ASAP because statistically speaking, they're assuming that at some point they're going to get interest on. So it really is a nice model to be able to keep turning over and leveraging low cost 0% money again and again. I always go back to my 0% credit cards first because you can't beat the 0% interest.
Pitch Deck 101 LLC out of New York do more than just support our clients to pitch their businesses to investors access working capital at 0% APR. We also support our clients to grow and scale their businesses faster and cash flow optimize. Pitch Deck 101 LLC recent partnership with 10X Branding Marketing LLC and Global Capital Inc. out of the USA has enabled us to form unique partnership with multiple financial institutions, which means we can do even more to accelerate the success of our clients. Let Pitch Deck 101 LLC give you the support you need to pitch to investors, access capital, access new markets and grow and scale your business. Contact us now on 332-235-1099 for a free consultation.
Nick, again, I must say it's such a pleasure to be talking with you and looking at some of these hats. And I would always say on our program, it's so important to have a financial expert on your team because one, you don't know what you don't know, and two, with experts like yourself who can talk about a balance transfer, who can talk about 0% APR, you can help. This type of knowledge can really help the rising stars in business save thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on annual percentage rate. It is so important, the information that you're sharing today. I definitely want to take this time to say, reach out to MB Capital. I will also put my link also so they can make contact with me to get in contact with MB Capital to learn much more about what Nick is actually talking about here. Nick, can we talk about the timeline? I mean, this is something so interested. So you can access capital at 0% APR for 6 to 21 months. But at the end of that life cycle, you can extend the life cycle by navigating the financial world. And you can have this going on for many, many years once you know what you're doing. And I'm certain that with Nick and MB Capital, these are the kind of financial solutions that we can provide and for you. But Nick, can we talk a little bit about timeline? I mean, how long does it take to access the funding sources?
Yeah, so it's not a long process, believe it or not, especially if, we're doing credit cards. Credit cards typically move quick. I always tell clients 14 to 21 days from the time we start the process in terms of submitting applications. Typically, we're done, wrapped up. We have cards in hand. We also do implement larger checkbook type lines of credit. For our business owners that have a year or 2 years in business, we may be able to get, a $25, $50, $100,000 line of credit as well. That takes a little bit longer. I always tell everybody for the line of credit, let's plan for 30 days. But typically within 21 to 30 days after submitting the initial application, we're done, wrapped up. You have funds in hand. You can start deploying that into whatever you have going on.
Right. Nick, what I've also recognized is that since the start of MB Capital today, you guys have allocated over $150 million in unsecured loan. Talk to me about how it feels to be able to help so many businesses out.
It's a crazy number, especially considering a couple of years ago it was not that high. We've definitely built the team up and we're helping more and more, we call them families, right? Like we just want to help families, individuals, families get out there and do more. So the number we're very proud of because it's not like it's a loan amount, right? Like these are permanent lines of credit that clients can go out there and use more than just once. So $150 million worth of permanent working capital out there that real estate investors, entrepreneurs are using right now, again and again and again, is a crazy number. The idea is to get that to a much larger number. Obviously, we want to help as many people as possible. But I just think of the buying power and then more importantly, how many small business owners, entrepreneurs' lives have changed since we've implemented these funds. It's a crazy number to think of.
I want to congratulate you guys and just to give you the encouragement to keep doing what you're doing. I think that there's a need for so much more information about financial instruments that you are currently offering. Nick, can we look at what are some of the short-term goals that you have? Being one of the lead funding strategists at MB Capital, what would you say are some of the short-term goals and vision that you have for MB Capital?
Well, a twofold. One, I think of our team. Like I want to keep building the team. I want to be able to help more and more people. People are coming to us on a daily basis, which we love. I want to make sure that we're building out our team and more importantly, pouring into our current team members. They're doing really good. They're helping tons of people. I like to be there as a resource to make things a little bit easier for them. So short term in terms of team, want to keep growing and scaling the team with the right people so that we can help more individuals. And then short term in terms of business and clients, we're a relationship based type company, right? Like we build relationships with you, with all of our types of referral partners. So I'm constantly looking at new ways that we can build relationships, build programs, referral sources to be able to help even more people. So short term, my focus is sort of, finding those key relationships where we can get in front of more people and, help the masses essentially, while also helping out my team members be able to help the influx of people that will hopefully be coming our way.
And for the long term, what are the long-term plans?
We just want to be the number one source for unsecured funding. We want to help as many people as we possibly can. We want to keep our good name, build key relationships, and really just help as many people as possible. We want to take that 150 million number and get it to a B at some point.
I love
we just got to keep doing the right things. We got to keep doing the right.
I love that. I love that. All right, Nick. Well, we have learned a lot about MB Capital. I want to say to the general public also, Nick, can you just explain also, is MB Capital funding available only in one state in the USA, or is it also available across the United States of America? Can you talk to us about that?
We are nationwide. I mean, we may be located in PA and, South Jersey in terms of, headquarters, but we're a nationwide company. A lot of our team is remote. So, we're kind of scattered around the country anyway, but our clients come from everywhere. I mean, I help real estate investors in Hawaii. We have had clients in Alaska. There's not a state we haven't helped somebody get money in. If you're watching this, doesn't matter where you're at. If you need money, we can help.
Great. So you heard it from Nick. In 50 states in the US, if you need access to capital, MB Capital is a place for you to start thinking about. I will put some link in the description, and you can go to those links and you can press on those links to get directly in contact with MB Capital, and you can set yourself up to start to access capital. As you have learned already, the process takes less than 21 days to complete. So you apply today. Once your FICO score is good, all else being equal, in less than 21 days, you can be set up to access capital to move your vision. And Nick, can we talk a little bit about success and talk a little bit about habits? You have accomplished a lot as young as you are. All right.
Thank you. I don't feel young, but thank you.
You're welcome. You have an associate degree in entrepreneurship. You started your own mortgage firm. Since in 2004, you went into gold and precious metal in 2007. You joined MB Capital over the last 14 years, and today you are one of the lead funding strategists. You have so many success behind you. You have been instrumental also in helping MB Capital to allocate today over $150 million of unsecured funding to businesses. That's a lot of success. And I want to give you, a big shout out and a big compliment for being young, resourceful, a great team player. I know Eric definitely, has tremendous, compassion for all the great things that you're doing. But talk to me, what does it take to be successful? What habits is necessary to position you to attain success? What are those habits that influences success?
It's a great question. And I think over the years, it's definitely changed. Early on, you just got to get out there and do it. Right? Like, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Your biggest successes typically will come after your biggest failures or losses. So learn everything along the way, right? Like, utilize it as you move forward. In terms of habits, one of the things that, we've been trying to do, especially over the past couple of years, is just be a little bit more conscious of what we're doing. Masterminding and doing some coaching programs, huge. Getting in front of like-minded people. And we have a nice little mastermind, me, Eric, and a couple other owners, business owners, a couple team members, where you bounce things off of each other. Having that support system that maybe it's not necessarily inside your house or inside your business goes a long way. Having those accountability partners, like me and Eric, are really good about holding each other accountable to each other, to the business, to our clients. So having that kind of support system around you is key. And my biggest thing is just try. Keep going out there, doing it. Me and Eric were actually talking the other day. It's crazy to see how far we've come, how many different versions of MB Capital there's been, especially over the past just 5 years. Things are going to work out. Things aren't. Doesn't mean that you stop trying, and don't give up. I always think of that meme on Facebook or on social media that you see of the guy digging and he gives up right before he gets to the diamond. If you can stay in there as long as you possibly can, keep trying, keep digging. At some point you'll get to a point where it all clicks, makes sense, and all that hard work pays off.
Yeah. How would you define success?
So I think of time freedom. Everybody wants to talk about money. I think money's obviously part of success. I tend to look at it more as having freedom. And I've spent a lot of the last 12 months, trying to focus on time freedom. I have 3 young kids, 8, 5, and 3. I want to be around for them. So the more I can be around, that's success to me, right? Being able to build a business, but then be there for my family. That's really success. So that's really the focus. Being able to do what I want when I want. That's not always the case. We have clients, we have work, we have to do things. But the more I can set, myself up to be able to have the freedom to, if my son wants me to come, to field day, I can go do field day. So that's really success to me is, bills are paid, obviously, but then I have the freedom to kind of do what I want, how I want.
I love that. I know that thousands of persons are going to be looking at this podcast and they're going to be asking themselves, what is Nick blueprint for success? Can you talk to us about your blueprint?
I don't know that there's a blueprint. I think one thing about success is everybody's on a different journey. My biggest thing was kind of just timing, right? Knowing when to move into the next thing. At some point, mortgages, the writing was on the wall, but I saw the next thing. Same thing, commodities started to taper off. I went back into lending with MB Capital because I knew what was coming. So if anything, it's timing and then just trusting your gut. You probably know better than you think you do. Trust that little thing inside your gut. And that's not necessarily inside your head because sometimes your head messes with you. But when you feel it in your heart and you feel it in your gut that you're doing the right thing, keep doing it. That's pretty much the only advice I can give. There is no blueprint. Everybody takes a different path. Everybody takes a different journey. The sooner you realize that and realize that you need to focus and work on yourself and don't look at everybody else's blueprint is when you'll start to have your success.
I love that because what works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for the other person. That's well said. Nick, I've seen very often, people would look at you and they would say, you're successful so many different ways. And all they see is success. But there's a journey, there's a story, there's a pathway that you had to journey to be where you are today. Can you talk to us a little bit about challenges that you had to overcome to be as successful as you are today, to help the public to know that you're a person and you too have challenges. Although today you have helped many businesses access over $110 million and you plan to help so many more access capital in the billions of dollars. Can you talk to us a little bit about challenges you had to overcome to be as successful as you are today?
Yeah, life challenges. Right? Like we can have everything planned for business wise, but there's this whole outside world that business owners have to deal with where it's called life. Right. So I think of, in terms of building a family, right? Like when we had our first child, the world changed, right? Like I wasn't working until 3 a.m. like I normally did with no care in the world. So you kind of got to figure out new routines, so growing a family is hard, right? Because then you got all of this stuff that kind of pops in while you're working, while you're trying to build a business. Because, as a small business owner, it's 24/7. It's not 9 to 5. So navigating that new world of having other mouths to feed, the time that needs to be spent was a great challenge for me, getting into that new routine of balancing work life and personal life. And then in terms of business, kind of like what we said with the blueprint, like everybody's got their own blueprint. Crap's going to happen, right? Things are going to change. Pandemics hit, COVID hits, the lending world switches upside down. You're going to have months of no income and then months of high income and everything in between. It is a true roller coaster, so yeah, there's always things that pop up. Life gets in the way 100% of the time. It's all about navigating those things that pop up. Listen, we're not perfect. We have we make mistakes, things happen. We've brought on team members that we shouldn't have brought on, and we had to learn from that. Bad hires, we did, we sponsored events that we spent way too much money on that we shouldn't have. It's all learning experience, right? So even I try to tell myself, even in the worst of times, there's a lesson here to be learned. It's all about how you bounce back from that lesson.
Nick, they say experience teaches wisdom. And I know as you look back at your life, you look back at your journey, is there anything that you can look at right now and say, perhaps I regret this? Or would you look at your experience to say, not you don't have regrets, but you're using those experiences to push you forward? Can you talk to us about when you look back at life, is there any regret that is holding you back or pushing you forward?
I won't say either way, right? Do I have regrets? I regret that I started working so young, right? Like I was 11, 12 years old. My uncle owned a catering company. It was like, all right, go to work. I look at my kids now and it's like, yeah, I wish I would have played football in high school, right? I went to work. I wish I would, I wish I would have played basketball. There was more times I wish I would have hung out with the boys, and you know what I mean? It's like, but I don't think good or bad, I would change anything, right? Like, do I have regrets? Yes. But would I change anything? I don't think so. I've had it good. I'll say that. Has there been challenges? Sure. We all have the challenges, but if I look at 38 years old, 3 healthy kids, beautiful wife, bills are paid. I think I'm winning. So I'll take it. But yeah, no regrets. But I wish I would have went out played football in high school. That was like that was the biggest thing, right? Done more stuff with the friends until I got fully ingrained into the work.
I have to play this particular part of the interview for my son. He's going to be 16 in a couple of days, but he has such a strong work ethics, perhaps because he look at me all the time, but I'm telling him to slow down and just have fun. You're still a youth. Enjoy that, So I'm going to play this part and have him listen to it.
Yeah, don't go to work. Go have fun. My son graduates pre-K on Friday, right? So he's
congratulations. Awesome.
But he's like, oh yeah, I can't wait till I drive, and I'm like, yeah. No. It's like, enjoy preschool.
The funny thing, Nick, when you're young, right, you want to get big, and when you get big, you want to get back young.
100%. Send me back to pre-K right now.
Exactly. All right. We're about to wrap up, but I just have a few more questions. What inspired you to become an influencer in your industry? Because without a doubt, you are an influencer. Anyone listening to your story, you start into business young, and I'm really happy that you have that successful streak to talk about. Today, you're still, aspiring to help many more businesses to access, capital. You want to get it to the billions of dollars where you're helping business. But what really inspired you to get into this field to really help rising stars in business to achieve their financial objective?
Well, I look at myself when I was starting, especially the gold business, right? Like I was using all my own cash. I had to slow grow it. If I had an MB capital earlier on, I could have been so much further on, so much faster. And I also see, people who come to me who have opportunities, but they don't have the cash. And I see us be able to get them money and them go out there and make 50, 75, 100 grand on a deal. And that inspires me to go help others, right? So seeing the results that my clients are having after they get funds in hand and what they go do with it and how their life changes, it really inspires me to keep going and helping others. And then, my why in terms of like why I do it, it's those 3 kids and my wife that I talked about, right? So the reason we get up every day is, I got those 3 young ones that I want to give them everything that I didn't have, so that's really the day to day. It's, let's go help more clients go achieve their goals while, hopefully setting my kids up and my family up to do the same.
Well, I love that. I think family is so important, as you build your career. Only today I'm talking to a friend, as you build life and you build your financial wealth, you want to build in a way that you can leave a legacy. All right. So I really love what you're saying, what you're doing. Kudos to you. Nick, what impact do you want to make on your community, and how do you want to be remembered?
Ooh, good question. In terms of community, I just want to be known as like a good guy, right? I'm always willing to help. If I can not do anything bad and not do anything to screw up the community, and then kind of be here as a resource that, especially the real estate investor community, right? Like that is who we connect with the most. I really just want to be able to help as many people get out there and get started investing in real estate, grow their business so that they can achieve all the things that, they tell us when we have that initial conversation.
Awesome. Well, I have another question that I would normally ask my guests, and you're going to laugh about this one because I would normally ask you, how important is access to capital to your business? I don't have to ask you that, right? Because you provide the capital to many businesses. And when I'm asking this question, I'm saying, okay, we can help you, right? We can help you. We can put you onto MB Capital. So folks, I really, really trust that you enjoy this conversation that I had with Nick today. And today we talk about MB Capital. And the fact is that you can access capital with just, a FICO score of 680. We can set you up to access non-secure loan. Can you just walk us back some of the important points of the financial instruments and non-secure loan? Help us to understand that a little more.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what type of business that you have. If you're out there, you need access to capital, reach out to us. We're going to be able to kind of help point you in the right direction, at least give you the roadmap. Hey, this is where you're at now. We can acquire this amount of money for you. Or, hey, this is where you're at now. These are the things that you need to do to get in a position where we can get you funding. Because at the end of the day, we're going to get you the tools to be able to go out there and do what you want to do. Unsecured lines of credit, we're leveraging personal credit, get you funds in the business name, go out there and use it for whatever you want. It'll keep you nice, clean, bankable on the personal side, regardless of how much money you're using in the business. So for, if you want to be able to still be able to go get a home loan or a car or mortgage or anything like that while you're doing business, let's make sure that we're separating out personal and business so that you have the funds to go do deals, but that you still have the ability to go do whatever you want.
Awesome. Or the last question, Nick, what are essential money habits to have? Can you talk to us about money habits? What are essential money habits to have?
Save. Save that money, create that side account that you push money into, and then just be conscious of your debt, whether it's credit cards, auto loans, personal loans, whatever you got. We set all of our clients up with what we call a CCM sheet where everything's all in one place. This way, you know what the true cost of your money is. I'll meet clients that are spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month in interest on credit cards. It's like, let's try and move that over to 0% so that you can either save cash flow or pay down and expedite the payment down faster. So those are some key things. Like, know what you're paying on your money. Most people don't know how much even credit card debt that they have, but what are you paying on it? Because a lot of times you may want to save money, but it may make more sense to pay down debt because the money that you're saving, you're eating up in credit card interest. So more than anything, start to get that global view of what you have going on money-wise. That's going to help point you in the right direction on, hey, should I accelerate debt pay down? Can I save? And then once you're able to save, keep saving. Save as much as you can.
Thanks for sharing. Nick, is there anything that I may not have asked that you'd want to talk about? I want to give you an opportunity to say it now before we wrap up.
Nothing specific. I thought that was really great. As always, I appreciate you having me on and giving me the opportunity to speak to your network. If you're on this call today and you're like, maybe not, still reach out, have the conversation with us. More times than not, having a conversation with us will kind of put your mind at ease and start to put you in the right direction. So small business owner, entrepreneur, whoever's on this call, definitely touch base. We're going to be able to help one way or another.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Nick. Again, if you're in business, any state in the US, you need access to capital, I want you to think about MB Capital. I will put the link in the description of this video. So just go to that link, press on that link. It will take you direct into MB Capital, and you can start your process of helping your business to access the funding so you can grow and scale. Nick, I must say it's really a pleasure to have you here today, and you have shared a lot of information. We have been doing some talking on this platform about accessing capital at 0% APR, but I'm happy to have you here because you are one of the major players at MB Capital. You know the ins and out of how that process works. I know that you have the background, the knowledge, the willingness to do everything that you can do to help businesses to access capital. So I'm happy to have you here.
Appreciate being here.
Okay. So thanks, Nick, and say hello to Eric from me and your team, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Pitch Deck 101 LLC out of New York. Do more than just support our clients to pitch their businesses to investors access working capital at 0% APR. We also support our clients to grow and scale their businesses faster and cash flow optimize. Pitch Deck 101 LLC recent partnership with 10X Branding Marketing LLC and Global Capital Inc. out of the USA has enabled us to form unique partnership with multiple financial institutions, which means we can do even more to accelerate the success of our clients. Let Pitch Deck 101 LLC give you the support you need to pitch to investors, access capital, access new markets, and grow and scale your business. Contact us now on 332-235-1099 for a free consultation.